Okay guys, today we're going to be making a robot collage using shapes. Now, if you don't have construction paper at home, you can use white paper, fabric scraps, cardboard, newspaper, magazines, all kinds of other stuff to make your collage. So gather up all your materials and then we'll get started. I have my paper that I'm going to use for my background. If I don't have construction paper, like I said, you can use other things. So for example, if I have my white paper and I wanted it to be a different color, like let's say I want green, I can actually take my marker and color my white paper. And once I have my colored paper there, I can use this. So if you don't have any other colored paper at home, you can use white paper and color it other colors. And then of course you can also use other materials, magazines, newspapers, fabric scraps, cardboard, anything that you have at home that you can cut up. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to start making my robot. So I have to think about the parts of the robot. So if I'm looking at the slideshow on Google Classroom, there is a head, a body, arms, and legs. I can add other stuff, but those are the main shapes, so I'm going to start with them. So I'll start with this color that I have here. So I can cut a head out of this colored paper that I made. So I decided to make my head a circle. I'm going to lay out all of my pieces before I glue them to make sure I don't want to shift them around when I'm done. So you can glue as you go, but if you wait till the end, you'll be able to make changes. All right, so another example I gave you guys was newspaper. You can use a newspaper to cut out shapes. So I'm going to cut out a rectangle out of the newspaper. Okay, then I can look and see which side I think makes a better robot. I think the side with the print makes it better. I also mentioned fabric scraps, so if you have any extra fabric at home, that works. I have been making some masks, so I have some extra fabric. I'm going to cut my legs out of this fabric. Fabric is a little bit harder to cut, so it may take some practice for you, or some sharper scissors, so just be careful. Let's see. Think about different kinds of shapes that you want to use. So far I mostly used rectangles and a circle, but I could use other shapes. I have my white paper here. I think I want some pink because I don't have that color yet. So maybe I can get some triangles out of this for my hands. Here's a little trick. If you want to make two shapes that are exactly the same, you can take a piece of paper and fold it in half and then cut out the shape, and you'll actually be making two at a time. So then when I take them apart, I have two triangles. See, maybe those can be hands. There. Okay, I can do the same thing for my feet. I think I'm going to want an oval. So I'm just going to fold this scrap of paper in half. And I'm going to cut out an oval. And now I have two ovals when I open them. I have ovals for the feet. So I can go ahead and glue this down, and then I can add more details. So I'm going to get my glue and start gluing. All right, I'm getting ready to glue down my robot. If you are using a glue stick, remember that usually requires a lot more glue, but if you're using a glue bottle, a dot is going to do a lot. So I'm going to just put little dots around my shape and one in the middle and start gluing. You can see I'm always putting glue on the back of my shapes. I am not putting glue on my big paper because I don't want to get glue where I don't need it. So make sure you're only putting glue on your small shapes so you don't get glue everywhere. Okay, I have my main shapes now, so now it's time to add some details. So I can think of things I might want to add, like to the face. Do I want antennas? Does he have any big, like other shapes on his body? Does this robot have fingers, a neck, ears, anything like that that I can add? So that's what's going to come next. So I need some more construction paper and my scissors, and I can start cutting shapes. And just like last time, I'm going to get all my shapes cut out and put them where I think I want them before I start gluing in case I make any mistakes or change my mind. Okay, I've cut out my little detail pieces. I've put them down where I think they want to go, and so I can glue them carefully. So some of the details I've added, I got eyes and a mouth. You can see I've used newspaper and construction paper there. I took some of my leftover pink paper I colored to make a little neck. And then I've created some rectangles for the body to make it look like it has panels. And I tried to use some of the other colors I already had in the fabric, so it kind of makes it look like everything goes together. And then instead of ears, I give them little antennas that are going to go on the side of his head. So I'm going to glue this down, and I'm going to follow the same rules. If I'm using a glue stick, I need more glue, but with a glue bottle, a dot does a lot. So as you're doing this, remember you put glue on the back of your small papers. You don't want to put them on your big paper because then you'll get glue everywhere. So just a few dots, and then stick your pieces down where you want it. When you're done gluing today, that is all that you're doing this week. Next week, you're going to do the second part of the video instructions for adding more details to your robot. So have fun, finish gluing, and then next week we're going to add all the details. I'm going to add that to this video so it's all in one place, but it's what you're doing next week before you turn your project in. Alright, so last week we glued all the shapes to make our robot, and this week we're adding details. Okay, so this is week 2 on the same project. Just like at school, sometimes you don't get the project done in one day. At home, it might be the same thing. So we're working on this for 2 weeks. Okay, so first step of adding the details is to get some markers or Sharpies. If you don't have those, you can use crayons or colored pencils. To add some details to the robot. So we're going to use different types of lines and patterns to add some details. So for example, I might add some zigzag lines. I can add some straight lines or dashed lines. I can also use colorful markers and add just black if I want. And I can add dotted lines. Straight lines. Curved lines. And I'm just going to keep adding lines anywhere that I want. I don't have to add a lot. just depending on how many little details I want my robot to have. If you want to add anything to the background, you can, or you can just leave it blank so that your robot stands out. And then the last step is if you have anything at home that you can add to make like little buttons or details. So things like beads, buttons, sequins, little tiny pebbles, anything that you can find at home maybe that you guys have. So if you have them, you can add them. If you don't have anything like that, maybe you add some more shapes and lines with your Sharpies. But I'm going to show you adding with some buttons. Okay, so at home I looked around in my craft bucket and I found some pom-poms and a pipe cleaner and some buttons. So I'm going to use these to add some details to my robot. I'm going to give my robot some buttons. I can, if you wanted to, you could even, like if you wanted to change your eyes, you could do button eyes. I like my eyes, so I'm going to leave mine. I can see if I wanted anything like a button nose. That could be kind of fun. Or button ears. Ooh, I like that. I am going to put buttons for the ears. I am, ooh, you know, that there. Switch this out. See, this is why I like to place everything before I glue in case I change my mind about where I want to put stuff. It gives me that choice. I can kind of play around, move things around, move things around and decide where I think they look best. Get help if you're using a pipe cleaner and you need to cut it. Get some help with that. Alright, to glue these down, if mom or dad has a hot glue gun, you can ask them to help you, or you can use bottle glue. Stick glue, like regular glue sticks isn't going to work. You're either going to need to use regular glue and put it somewhere where it can dry for a while, or get help from mom and dad using a hot glue gun, okay? Which is what I would have done in class. But this can work. You just have to leave it for a while without touching your project. All right, so get your glue. You can either, again, use hot glue or bottle glue. But for the pipe cleaners, it's kind of hard to get glue onto this tiny little pipe cleaner, so I do go ahead and put it on my paper. And then I can just put it down. Again, remember, if you're using bottle glue, you have to let this dry for a while. It's not going to dry right away. And it could slip off. Okay, so just keep getting everything glued down just where you want it. Let your glue dry, and then when it's all done and all dry, you guys can upload a photo on Google Classroom of your artwork. And don't forget, you can also send me a picture of you holding your artwork if you want me to put that up on the Facebook and Instagram pages for Misty's Art Room. We can get those on there too. But you have to let everything dry before you pick it up. Okay, so get that done, get it glued down and dried, and then share it with me, and I hope you had fun making your robot.